Well, good morning. Clearly coming off a disappointing loss, one that eats at you. The good news is you get to play again, and looking forward to going back out there on Saturday and seeing if we can't get the ship righted and play a little better. I think Middle Tennessee's a hot team. They're coming in with 2 straight wins. They've scored some points. Return a quarterback, throws it around a lot. Got a couple of running backs, a transfer that's pretty good. And defensively, a new defensive coordinator in Tyrone Nix, who's been at South Carolina, Ole Miss, Southern Miss, had a lot of successful defenses, is very multiple. And with a week off, I'm sure he'll have a lot of different looks and different stunts for us. So our goal is to come back and try to have a great week of practice and come back and play well on Saturday.
Questions? It seems like on offense that Middle Tennessee likes to distribute it around between passing and running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they're fairly balanced, but they've got – I think that they throw a lot of bubble screens, a lot of quick passing game. I mean, they're the typical spread-type offense, and they have pretty good receivers, and their quarterback's experienced and has done a good job throwing it around.
Hey, Paul, how would you generally assess the state of the program now, and just how do you feel, your level of support is with the administration and what? Well, I mean, I'm just, I know it's 2 games, 4 games into the season. And,
I'm not even going to answer that. I mean, I don't know what my level – ask the administration, I guess.
Do you feel like the fans are supporting the program enough?
Well, we had a pretty good crowd on Saturday. I know they left disappointed, so did we. I don't think there's anything wrong with the program as much as you guys want to make it. But that's your opinions. You write what you want.
Could you assess how the secondary's played and what sort of things you want them to get better at?
Well, I think that before Saturday they had played fairly well. Saturday was not a great day for anybody, but it's like anything else when you're playing coverage back there and you're matched up and there's not a lot of pressure. There's going to be some exposure, and I think you have to give the other team some credit too. They had pretty good receivers and their quarterback was hot, and they made some plays. You continue to evaluate.
What sort of progress have you seen out of Jamal in the games that he's had to start?
Well, I think for a guy who this is his first year playing, Jamal's done some good things. I mean, he's like everybody else. There have been mistakes along the way, and that wasn't one of his better games tackling. But all in all, he's been a real positive back there and helping guys get lined up and doing those kind of things.
I guess it's twofold. It's kind of unusual to play a team this much that you played out of conference, and I imagine you guys have some experience, and also you have a walk-on quarterback who played there. Is he able to shed any light on kind of what they do for you?
No. We haven't asked Byerly to help us with a game plan. Maybe we should. You've got film and you got the games, and so you try to put in the plan that you think gives you the best chance to win the game. But there is some familiarity from an offensive standpoint, their offense. But again, we've played. This will be the third time. This is the third defensive coordinator, so it's 3 different looks actually.
Going back to Golden, it seemed like he brought a little life to the punt return game. Will he be back there again this week?
Yeah, I think so. He did a nice job, on 2 punt returns, and that was a real positive. That was positive in the game. Got good field position, and it was nice plays by him.
Do you anticipate any changes in the lineup going for this game?
Do I expect any changes?
Do you anticipate? Yeah.
not unless we get through, with some injuries and the regular guys are going to play if they're available. We've got some guys banged up, and then we'll know later on in the week if somebody's out or whatever. That might necessitate a change, but not performance-based. I don't think we're planning on changing anybody.
Was Vad available after he went in the first time? Or
Who?
Vad in the Miami game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to see him?
I always want to see him.
Which series would you like? We had 2 in the fourth quarter.
Well, I noticed he took his helmet out. So
Oh.
This is going to go pretty far afield. This is your 4th straight home game, and I was happened to be talking to the groundskeeper today. I'm curious if you how would you compare this field and how it's maintained versus others you've played on?
Well, I think this field is usually always immaculate. I mean, he does a great job. I don't think there's anybody who has more pride in what he does and spends more time and effort. And we're fortunate to have him. He does a great job with the field.
I'm curious what you saw out of the team, just spirit-wise, mentality-wise. I know you've said before how they're a pretty resilient bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Was this any different?
Well, I think they were down a little bit, like you would expect. I mean, that was a tough loss, and we've had a couple this year that have been tough. But I think they understand. We talked a lot about dealing with adversity and how you respond to it and how you react to it helps to define you. So I think they'll come back and play on Saturday. I'd be disappointed if we didn't. I think we will.
Obviously, there's different goals that some may not be able to be reached. Do you put other things out there for them or remind them of the other goals that they have?
Yeah, we got a big goal this week, try to beat Middle Tennessee. That's our goal. That's what we talked about, beat Middle Tennessee. I don't think anybody knows about any goals 4 games into the season. I mean, we got teams in our league that haven't played a conference game, and we're already anointing conference champions. I mean, we have to play it and see what happens.
I guess this was sort of the trap that you talked a little bit about before the season when you play this many divisional games right off the bat, that there's no margin for error, really.
Well, are we in a position that we'd like to be? No, we're not. But we put ourselves in that position. So, it's disappointing, but you keep playing. It's like, you would think that we lost games 50-6 or something. I mean, the program's in disarray, and we can't. I mean, they were pretty good football games. I think the first one was against a ranked team at home, and the second one we lost on the road, who's lost 1 game to a team that might be pretty good, Kansas State. I mean, they went into Norman and beat Oklahoma, so they might be pretty good too. Now, could we have won those games? Certainly we could have, had we have played a little better. But, I don't think it's ready to sack the bats and call it a day.
Well, just over the course of a season, you've been in this business long enough to know that just like a game, stuff can flip pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
So that, obviously gives, as you said, it's not it's not over, and other teams can lose, and
Sure.
a lot of good things can happen, can't they?
Right. I mean, you keep playing. I've always said from a coaching standpoint, from whatever that you do, you just keep playing one game at a time. If you do what you're supposed to do, come November, there'll be some big games. And we still got a ton to play for. I mean, it's like we've played 1/3 of our season. So it's like you get on a roll. Last year's a great example. We got off to a great start and didn't finish well. Okay, this year we get off to a mediocre start. Maybe we have a great finish. So, I think you can't get too far ahead of yourself. You just kind of got to keep going. I mean, there's a lot of positives. The last 3 games, we scored a lot of points. We beat a conference divisional team at home pretty soundly. So it's not I'd be more concerned if we were trotting out there every week and we were getting pummeled 50-6 and there wasn't much hope. But I just, maybe call me an optimist. I don't think anybody's ever considered me a real optimist about things, but I just, I guess I see it a little differently.
Could you talk a little bit about the progress of some of the other players like Adam, DJ White, and some of those guys that are, in their first year?
Yeah. Well, we probably need to play those guys a little more. DJ White, we have not played, but he's going to play this week. We got some injuries, and we need him back in the secondary, so he's probably going to play. Adams played a little bit. We get, Chris Jackson back this week, who's at wide receiver. That'll certainly help with our depth some there. So I was trying to think who else from a younger player. Anthony Autry's going to start to play more. He played more in the game Saturday. So you start to phase those guys in a little bit. We're trying to do our best to redshirt most of that class and not waste a year for them to be mop-up guys.
Hey, this is off topic, but it's an ACC trend story for the Associated Press this week. I'm kind of curious your thoughts on the salaries of coordinators. It's going up and up, and Clemson's shelling out some big bucks for their 2 guys. Is there a jumping off or a breaking point at some point, where this gets to be too expensive, or how do you kind of see that?
I think it's kind of a market rate type deal, and each school has their own limits, I would imagine. I mean, it's certainly the schools with bigger fan bases and bigger deals can probably pay more than some of the other schools, but that's it's kind of like anything else. It's market driven.
How has TJ done so far, would you say, this year?
TJ Barnes?
Yeah.
I think he's played well. He's, I think he played about 20-some snaps Saturday. He's been on the regular defense and not so much on the nickel and dime stuff that they use. But, I think overall if you went through for all 4 games, he's acquitted himself quite well.